Have you ever been at the beach, seen all those shells, and just wondered, what's their deal? You know, oysters, clams, mussels. They're not exactly out there hunting for dinner, so how in the world do they eat? Well, today we're going to dive right into that. We're going to uncover the secrets of their invisible buffet.
Really think about that for a second. How do you eat if you can't move? It seems like a real problem, right? But nature has this incredibly clever, super elegant solution. It's one that basically turns the entire ocean into a personal food delivery service.
And that solution? It's called filter feeding. And let me tell you, shellfish are the absolute masters of it. They don't have to go to the food because they've perfected the art of making the food come to them. For them, the ocean isn't just a place to live, it's their own personal, all-you-can-eat restaurant, open 24/7.
So what exactly is a filter feeder? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's an animal that literally sifts its meals right out of the water. It's kind of like having a built-in pasta strainer for a mouth. They pull in water, their gills trap all the tiny, tasty little particles floating by, and then they just push the clean water back out. It's so simple, but so brilliant.
And when we talk about the experts, we're talking about all the classics. Your oysters, your mussels, clams, scallops. These guys have been perfecting this technique for millions of years. Every single one of them is like a tiny, powerful water filtration machine, just constantly tasting the currents for its next meal.
Okay, so what is actually on the menu at this underwater restaurant? What are they filtering out of all that water? Well, the main course, the absolute #1 thing on their plate, is plankton. But what is plankton, really? Let's zoom in and take a closer look at the menu.
You might actually be surprised at the variety here. Look at this. Phytoplankton is clearly the star of the show. It makes up that huge slice of the pie. But it's not the only thing they're eating. You've also got microalgae, some zooplankton, and even this stuff called detritus and bacteria. For an animal that just sits there, it's a pretty diverse diet.
So let's start with the big one, phytoplankton. The easiest way to think about these is as tiny, microscopic plants that are powered by the sun. They are the absolute foundation. You've got things like diatoms, which are packed with fatty acids and protein. They're basically a microscopic superfood. And then you've got dinoflagellates and coccolithophores. It's all part of this invisible floating salad bar.
And this right here, this is why phytoplankton are so unbelievably important. They're not just food for shellfish. No way. They are the literal foundation of the entire food web in the water. If you don't have a healthy phytoplankton population, the whole system just collapses. So a healthy ocean and healthy shellfish, it all starts right here with these tiny little guys. Now, phytoplankton are the salad, then zooplankton are the little protein bites sprinkled on top. These are microscopic animals that are also drifting around. Shellfish will filter out things like copepods. Think of them as microscopic shrimp, krill, and rotifers. These add crucial proteins and fats to their diet, giving them the fuel they need to grow.
But hold on, the buffet doesn't stop there. Shellfish are not picky eaters, not at all. They take advantage of pretty much any nutritious particle they can find floating around. So what else is being served in this all-you-can-eat water stream?
And this is where it gets really interesting. Shellfish also eat something called detritus. It's a fancy word, but it just means nature's leftovers. Tiny bits of decomposing plants and animals. It's loaded with stuff like nitrogen and phosphorus. And on the flip side, you've got bacteria. Bacteria are busy breaking down all that organic stuff, and in doing so, they become a really nutrient-dense little snack themselves. In the ocean, nothing goes to waste.
Of course, this invisible buffet doesn't have the same menu all year round. The food supply changes, and it changes big time with the seasons. Spring is when things kick off. You get these huge plankton blooms as the water warms up. Summer? That is peak season. It is a feast. But then, as autumn rolls in and winter starts to bite, the water gets cold, and the menu gets, a lot more scarce.
So why does all this talk about microscopic food and seasons matter to us? Well, if you're a shellfish farmer, understanding this natural rhythm isn't just interesting trivia, it is the absolute heart of your business. It's the key to working with nature, not against it.
A great farmer knows their job is to sync up with the natural world. If they understand what their shellfish are eating, and when that food is around, they can make sure their animals are healthy, that they grow fast, and that they produce an amazing product. It all comes back to managing and respecting that invisible buffet.
So here's how they actually put that knowledge into practice. First, they basically become scientists, right? They're constantly monitoring the water, checking plankton levels. Second, if the natural food supply takes a dip, maybe in those leaner months, they might step in and supplement the diet by growing their own algae. And finally, and honestly, this is the most important part, they have to farm sustainably. They have to make sure they don't take too much, so they preserve the very ecosystem that provides the food to begin with.
It's a pretty powerful idea to end with, isn't it? These simple creatures build their shells, their bodies, their entire lives from the invisible, microscopic world that's just floating around them. It really makes you stop and think, what are the invisible things in our own environment, the ideas, the conversations, the information that we're building our own lives from? Thanks for joining me.
Want to raise healthy shellfish and avoid costly mistakes? Get your copy of How to Raise Shellfish by Gerard in the description box below and discover everything you need to turn your shellfish farming dream into a profitable reality.